today we're trying out a cultural staple here in South Korea, the Internet Cafe, also known as the PC Bong.
Krafton had recently said that they are going to be an AI first kind of company. And I'm wondering what that means.
It's clearly a very useful tool, not only at Krafton or InZOI, but it would also help many other studios or companies to use AI as well.
The two secret developments. We don't know when those are going to be released.
Actually, we've already done a lot of development on them. It's nearly ready. Probably by the end of this year or probably early next year, we'll definitely release it.
Describe what the game scene looks like in Dubai.
We actually have a games industry, a thriving one. However, when we reached out to people globally, they were not aware of the great things that are happening in Dubai. We want to show those games to the rest of the world.
Welcome back to another episode of Gamer Galaxy powered by Xsolla. I'm Cher, your host. In today's episode, we're taking a trip around the world to see how two very different countries are shaping the future of gaming. One is a global powerhouse that's helped define esports and online play. That's South Korea. The other, a rising player betting big on its digital future, the United Arab Emirates, where Dubai is aiming to make gaming a billion-dollar industry by 2033 and create over 30,000 new jobs in the process. Let's first start with the giant. South Korea may be small in size of just 51 million people, but it's a global gaming titan ranking fourth in the world behind China, the US, and Japan. They're well known for their PC bongs or internet cafes, and NewsNation's Robert Sherman is taking a break from his usual beat to give us a look around one of those. If you're listening to this episode on your earphones or your headphones, I highly recommend heading over to our YouTube channel for this part to watch the video version, just because I think it's worth the watch.
All right, so it's Saturday night here in Seoul, and today we're trying out a cultural staple here in South Korea, the Internet Cafe, also known as the PC Bong. These are places in which college kids, adults come here after work, after school to blow off steam, to meet up with their friends, play video games, compete against one another. This is not like going to the public library in the United States in order to use computers. This is a true cultural experience that is here. Full disclosure, this is not my wheelhouse. I've really never been to anything like this before, so I'm going in blind, just like I assume many of you will be as well. I was told that these are on pretty much every street corner here in Seoul, and in fact they are. They're all over the place. You may not notice them if you don't know what you're looking for. I mean, you take a look at the sign out here, it just says PC. It's a rather understated building, and you can walk by these all the time. In fact, we've walked by multiple of them throughout the day. So we're going to see what this is all about, and we're going to take a look at this cultural staple here in South Korea. Hello. This is our first time doing this, and was hoping to get some help of, how to get set up. Okay. Okay.
First time.
Yes.
Yeah. Cash card.
Cash card.
Okay.
Okay. So we have card.
Card. You choose one.
Okay.
50, 1 ball.
This is 50 minutes here.
2,000.
And this is an hour 40. Okay. So we'll do 50 minutes. Okay.
Done.
All right.
You.
Yeah. Any of them? Yeah. Whichever one.
No. Any.
Excuse me. Yeah. Okay.
You need this number.
Okay.
Enjoy.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Food and drink.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. That's cool. So how do I order one of these?
Example one. And cancel, you whatever you want. Food, snack.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And so this will come right here.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so how do I click this button here?
Yeah.
So let's just say I want to do
Cash,
coffee.
Cards,
Okay. So we got
latte. You want a latte?
no, Americano.
Americano.
Yeah.
Here.
Okay.
Click and card.
Okay. Card.
Order.
Order.
One more.
One more.
Done.
So you can order food, whatever you want, right here. So you can order, I think that's beef and rice, chicken and rice. You can order eggs, and it'll come right here. So you can stay locked in and not waste a single moment. Because we purchased, 50 minutes? And the food will be delivered right here, and you can just keep going. It's kind of cool. All right, so my PC Bong coffee just arrived here. It is quite good. You do see that this is a Saturday night, and I mean, look at this place. I mean, it's filled. I mean, every single seat is occupied right now. People have come out here, and again, I mean, it's a social, cultural institution. Every single seat is filled. People are playing their own games. Some people are playing the same game, and it's a social interaction with one another. I mean, you definitely see how big of a deal this is here. So basically, we've rented this high-powered computer for 50 minutes and can do whatever we want with it. So the normal stuff, Google, I suppose I could check my email or something like that while I was on here as well. Could watch Netflix, but I mean, most people use this to play games. I'm at two disadvantages. Unfortunately, I don't know Korean. The second is that I think you need to have certain accounts here. We're gonna see what we can do for the next 45 minutes or so. So we're gonna be muddling our way through this. All right, so right now I'm trying to figure out how to load up, believe this is Texas Hold'em. That is the game that they're looking at here, one of these card games. First takeaways. Pretty impressed by this whole setup that is here. I mean, like the chairs. I mean, this is the most impressive gaming chair that I've ever sat in. Really like these keyboards. This is the most powerful computer that I think I've ever used. I really wish I knew how to use it a little bit better, but I understand, why this is such a cultural staple that is here in South Korea. There are quite literally thousands of these around Seoul. And in terms of the economic impact here in South Korea, I mean, this is well over $1 billion a year industry. I mean, just the element of the internet cafes and the PC bongs alone, that doesn't even take into account the whole video game industry that is here in South Korea. So this is a huge deal. Okay, so this is kind of what your PC setup is going to look like here. I suppose I could check my email while I'm here on a high-powered computer. Probably not the best use of 50 minutes of computer time, but that is an option. But they have all different kinds of games and such that you have here. You know what cards look like, so that's a good starting point there. I mean, you look around this whole place, and I mean, just about every single one of these seats are filled. People are either playing their own game, or some people are playing the same game as their friend next to them and competing against one another. So, I mean, it's either, an opportunity for you to, I guess, blow up some steam by yourself, or it can very much so be a social kind of situation here. I really had no idea what to expect coming into all of this, but I definitely get it.
Recently, South Korean President Lee Jae Myung called the gaming industry a cornerstone of Korean culture and the nation's economic future. And one of the companies leading that charge is Krafton, the company behind PUBG Battlegrounds. I spoke with Hyungjun Kim, known to many as KJun, one of Krafton's creative directors, about their ambitious new project called InZOI. It's an AI-based life simulator game already being called a serious challenger to The Sims. We first met at Gamescom, where he gave me a glimpse into the world they're building. But after President Lee's recent endorsement, we caught up again, and KJun shared some hilarious behind-the-scenes moments from the presidential visit, along with some exclusive updates about what's next for InZOI. We've talked a little bit at Gamescom about your game InZOI. I got to play a little bit of it. Can you describe for me what InZOI is and why it's different from everything else?
인조이가 실제로 이제 그런 사연이 좀 있긴
InZOI
하죠.
actually has a
예를
bit
들어
of a story like that.
한국에서도
In fact, they started their
굉장히
game in a very
낯선
unfamiliar way,
방식으로
even in
이제
Korea.
시작한 거예요.
First,
첫
most
번째로
Korean games don't do
게임은
soft launches.
얼리
They
액세스라는
mostly
걸
develop
이제
games
하지
secretly and then
않습니다.
release them.
그래서
So,
게임을
with
이제
this
몰래
approach, there were
만들거나
very few
아니면
opportunities to communicate with users or listen to their opinions.
방식이다 보니까
But
이제
InZOI was a very challenging project within Krafton from the very beginning. So, when it came to the approval process, the company had serious concerns and wondered if we could even do this. Now, we communicate with players weekly on Discord, and based on that feedback, we're making changes. Whether it's Korean developers or other global developers, unlike in the past, now there are many ways for us to communicate with other players, like through social media or the podcast, We Are Here for Today. So, listening to their feedback and using it to correct and improve the game in the right direction was a really refreshing experience for me, even though I've been a developer for a long time. I think it's probably a similar positive story for global developers too.
네, 일단 뭐 설명드리면 이제
Most games have a clear purpose: defeat your opponent, kill your opponent, or steal something and escape. There are many like that, or there are puzzle games where you solve a given problem. But a life simulation game is for people who want to live a life that's not theirs. It's a game where you can live out the life you desire.
Awesome. So let me backtrack a little bit. Tell me about who you are, what you do for Krafton, and how you got started. I kind of want to understand your start in the games industry, if you will. I know, big question.
알겠습니다. 네. 네. 저는 이제 되게 이게
I'm in my mid-50s, and I've spent about 25 years a game developer. I've been developing games since I was very young. Starting from my first year of university, I went to the South Korean military. After returning from the military, I immediately started a company. I failed a lot. I kept failing again. And then I went to work at a company that's now very famous in South Korea called NCSoft. There, I worked on MMORPGs. Most people in Korea really love MMORPGs, and I made them for 20 years. One of those games became incredibly successful, very famous in South Korea, and I heard they're releasing a sequel soon, which I'm excited about. So I created a game called Ion. It was very successful, but in the middle of that success, I moved to a company called Krafton. After joining that company, I made another MMORPG. But in the meantime, the world changed a lot. The MMORPGs I loved were games where you met people online, had fun chatting, then made friends, and had all kinds of encounters. Recently, that nature has changed significantly. Rather than meeting and communicating with people, it shifted toward looting items and obtaining better equipment or weapons. So when we started the InZOI project at Krafton, I wanted to bring back the things I loved about MMORPGs back then, like meeting other people online and just chatting. In real life, I'm not that great at meeting people. You're making this interview so comfortable today, Cher, but actually on the Briggs-Meyer personality test, I'm an INTP. That means I'm kind of a deliberate loner and someone who wants to live quietly alone. But when I go online, I meet people so easily, make friends well, and have fun. I thought I should make a game that I love. When I was young, I loved a game called The Sims, which became the inspiration for creating the game InZOI. Let me backtrack. The first game I made at Krafton actually ended up a complete failure. It was a total flop. Then our company started developing a game called PUBG. I really love that genre. Because I love so many different games, I ended up participating in developing that genre as well, although I didn't have the biggest role. Watching them make PUBG there gave me a lot of inspiration, especially since PUBG was made in such a short time. Seeing their timeline really surprised me and made me try things I hadn't attempted before. That was a very interesting and possibly dramatic period of time for me. If you recall what I mentioned earlier, I was doing really well at NCSoft, but Krafton, which was developing PUBG at the time, was in an extremely difficult situation. I actually took a huge leap of faith when I moved over to that company. That move was really a big deal for my family too, and in the game industry, it was quite the talk at the time. Why on earth would someone who was doing so well at one company suddenly come to a small company like Krafton? Admittedly, there's really no specific reason. I just wanted to challenge myself again in a new environment. I guess I've been like that since I was young. Actually, even in college, I quit 3 times. I'd go, then quit, go, then quit, go, then quit, like that. In the end, I graduated with a degree in Western painting, but I changed my major every time I went. I went to the design department at first, then the Western painting department, and initially I thought I'd become a teacher. I kept changing like this, and though it was a very long time ago when I think about it, I realized I've had this personality since I was young. Anyway, even though things were going really well at NCSoft and the project was successful, I boldly came to Krafton and then took on the challenge of a completely new genre called PUBG. It's been really gratifying to see good results from that challenge. And then with InZOI, which I mentioned today, we're taking on another challenge. Regarding the question you asked earlier about how the game industry is changing, our company has a chairman. The chairman told me he wanted to make a game that should take about 3, 4, 5 years to develop in just 1 year. Honestly, at that time, I ignored the chairman. I thought, this guy really doesn't know anything. I seriously wondered, how is he going to lead this company like this? I kept thinking, this can't possibly go on like this, right? I kept ignoring him like this, but I kept failing at this company. There's this great saying, right? Success teaches you one thing, but failure teaches you everything. I failed a lot, but then there was PUBG Battlegrounds. I watched it get made in about a year and I realized, oh, this is possible. And even it being made in just 1 year, it achieved such massive global success. I realized that the global game industry was transforming. From my perspective now, the pattern of small-scale developers is changing incredibly fast. Really, really fast. Even for me in the past, just looking at MMORPGs alone, we'd always make them for 5 or 6 years. But now, if you do that, by the time you finish making it, the trend seems to have already passed. So what I learned back then is to build fast. That's why we built InZOI in just 8 months and launched it. Even though it was less complete, we did it to meet the needs of our core fan base, to communicate with our players and update the game build in real time to create a quality product. I believe this is also related to the current global changes in the game industry. When I developed an MMORPG, the team had 300 members. Nowadays, it's gradually decreasing and PUBG was made with a really small team, to the astonishment of people worldwide. InZOI also has about 100 people now, but until recently it was only 50. So the industry is moving fast, but developers are decreasing, and with AI's help, this will probably accelerate even more. I think this is the most powerful trend.
Yeah, that's a really great point that you made. And thank you for explaining this side because I think not too many people really understand. I did not definitely understand what, like, how things were changing and how they were changing things that fast. It almost seems like AI is affecting the games industry way before any of these other industries are changing, or at least publicly. Krafton had recently said that they are going to be an AI first kind of company. And I'm wondering what that means and how things are shifting, how AI is shifting the industry.
일단 그 게임 업계의 영향, AI 영향이 클 거라는
First off, you're spot on with the idea that AI will have a huge impact on the gaming industry. It's almost a given that the gaming industry will be profoundly impacted. It's practically a foregone conclusion. Probably within the next 5 years, even the 3D we're using now, which we rely on heavily as our foundation, will likely change significantly. But without looking too far ahead and focusing on the near term, even just our studio is actively using AI. Our company, Krafton, emphasizes AI first and is pushing it. The biggest thing is, I think we need to understand AI. In our team's case, where we use AI a lot is when we take input from the public. We ask AI to gain an understanding of the public perception. Why do we do this? In my view, content developers like me, all of us, have our own thoughts and preferences, right? For instance, I'm on an important broadcast today. I genuinely asked myself this morning, should I wear white today or should I wear red? When I asked the AI, it asked me a question. Where are you going today? I said, I'm going on a very important broadcast. So then it gave me a recommendation. I normally just throw things together. Being a guy, I'd just wear whatever I have lying around and go about my day haphazardly. But since AI came along, starting with small things like that, I think there are important ways to use AI. Especially for companies like ours that sell games to the public, it's important to get an accurate sense of public perception. For example, we have questions like, will people like this particular setting or direction? Or will some people find it uncomfortable? We review whether people from different countries, different races, or cultures might find this uneasy. AI will give an answer that far exceeds what our studio members could have ever put together. So, for us at Krafton, our AI-first approach simplifies and streamlines various development decisions and processes. We're also increasingly relying on AI for decision-making. Another example, I'm Korean, and our entire team is Korean too. So naturally, we have no understanding of American or other foreign cultures. We learn cultural differences through AI. Because the development team is still a large team of over 100 people, there are very complex processes that prove to be barriers in communication. We're in the process of creating an internal system called Oasis that can maneuver communication between departments and cultures easily using AI. For example, it would explain my other colleagues' work to me so that I could understand or verify aspects of the work which I wasn't familiar with, but which directly aids development of the games or provides direct assistance to me. Most importantly, it aids in development and decision-making. It's clearly a very useful tool not only at Krafton or InZOI, but it would also help many other studios or companies to use AI as well. Another point I'd like to make is that just last week I had to create a report for the CEO. It used to take me about 2 to 3 days, but because we're AI first, I was able to create it with AI and I finished it in just 2 minutes. If the company didn't actively encourage it, there might be some resistance, right? But since the company encourages it, I also confidently handle tasks using AI to finish them, which is effective. So conversely, I tell my team members to use AI to write their reports too. That kind of thing is also a really fun experience.
Wow, that's really cool. It almost seems like you guys are not just a gaming company, but you're also an AI company. Like you're creating an AI system outside of just gaming. So you're kind of like in America, like OpenAI or something like that with the Oasis thing.
감사합니다. 이 글로벌 AI 변화는 정말 피할 수 있는 건 절대 아니고요. 아마 게임 업계
Yes, thank you. Global AI transformation is absolutely not something we can avoid. Not just the gaming industry, but also in how games are made. As I mentioned earlier, we must use it very actively and proactively in the process. Production or collaboration between studios or people making games. Also, yes, we must use it actively to keep up with the times, to do better or survive. But just like the example I mentioned earlier about the CEO report, AI helps me to get off work earlier so that my quality of life is better, making my life more enjoyable. I actually really like that aspect.
President Lee Jae Myung had visited PUBG Seongsu and basically declared that they gaming. So the PUBG Seongsu, for those at home, is a gaming and cultural hub operated by Krafton. But the president had said that South Korea must embrace gaming as a defining force of its cultural and economic future, and he vowed to make K-gaming a cornerstone of Korea's cultural exports and dismantling repressive policies of the past, signaling a major policy shift in how the government views gaming. Firstly, I want to ask, like, what was that like to meet the president and getting to have such a big shift in public policy like that?
일단 역으로 설명드리면 이제 먼저 이재명 대통령
The meeting with President Lee Jae Myung was a very special case. There was a rehearsal beforehand, and usually when meeting a VIP, there's a plan, right? But when President Lee arrived, all of it was somewhat disregarded, and he came straight to the InZOI side. He came in and suddenly sat down, and I had to explain the game to him all of a sudden. He ignored everything, sat down, watched the game, and then offered his opinion. It almost felt like I was getting talked to by the company's CEO. The president asked, "Shouldn't we add multiplayer to the artificial world and then put ads on the billboards to boost sales?" What shocked me the most was that he said we should add nail art. We already have it on InZOI. But I was really shocked. Because first of all, I thought, oh, he really knows our game. It felt as though he really knew so much about this business. While I had originally expected the ordeal to take 5 minutes, we ended up talking for over 25 minutes. Even after we finished, he called me aside separately. He was incredibly thorough until the very end, and before heading to his next event, he kept saying things like what our CEO would say, like to run the company properly and that you have to create the best work. It was so impressive. I ultimately got 2 impressions. First, that he knows this industry incredibly well. And second, that he may have really looked into our game InZOI and really prepped for this event because Our game is a game that's still quite unfamiliar to many others, even in our own industry yet. So I was really pleased that we had such a meaningful conversation. The meeting felt very thoughtful and special. It's actually really funny because while I was talking with the president, he suggested I make InZOI a multiplayer game. We never officially announced it, but I think because of that day and probably this podcast, the news has started to leak out a bit. InZOI is indeed developing a multiplayer aspect to the game. Anyway, it was such a fun and memorable experience. To briefly answer the second question, the fact that the president spoke favorably about the game industry and that South Korea will be striving to create a better environment for it is incredibly helpful. In fact, Korean games have largely been sustained by domestic internal sales alone. Moving forward, we must expand globally to meet global player needs. I reckon that this announcement would serve as the foundation for that. I was incredibly happy. I now believe this will greatly help the Korean game industry globalize and achieve global success.
Lovely. Then, last question: what can people expect globally coming from InZOI in the future?
네. 일단 이게 미래는 일단 아무도 알 수가 없죠. 그러니까 이건 예측은 불가능.
First off, no one can know the future. It's impossible to predict, but in my opinion, I've been with Krafton for over 10 years. I think we embody Korea's fast-paced culture. Krafton is incredibly adept at absorbing changes in the surrounding environment. It's also a very open culture. People speak easily about each other and listen to others a lot too. I know I have a lot of conversations with our members now, but maybe because of that I feel like a pioneer, and looking ahead, I believe we will see countless things transformed by AI. I think InZOI and Krafton will likely become companies that endlessly challenge themselves. When something new emerges, we'll readily embrace it. They have the "let's try making or using this" attitude. I'm one of the longest-serving people at the company, but it's impossible to predict the future right now, especially the distant future, because we don't know what form it will take. For InZOI, we're actually running it on test servers and providing players the ability to make life easier, but even now we're doing countless updates and communicating with our fans. But we also have 3 new developments on the game that we haven't revealed yet. One of them was unexpectedly revealed to our president, but there are 2 more that we're challenging ourselves with. There's no doubt that we're constantly challenging ourselves to create the best and most innovative games yet. I'd like to add, the chairperson has town hall meetings with all the staff members regularly. He started it about 10 years ago, and I thought it would only last a couple years, but it's now been over 10 years, and we're still gathering everyone to have conversations. I think that's a benefit of Krafton, which is listening to all the voices and endlessly transforming and taking on new challenges, even in the smallest things.
How exciting! So we don't know when those are going to be released, right? The two secret developments.
일단은 이제 아직은 말씀드릴 수가 없는데 사실은
For now, I can't say yet, but actually we've already done a lot of development on them. It's nearly ready. Probably by the end of this year or probably early next year, we'll definitely release it. After that, we just need to figure out how to create the best experience for the players. That's really the last thing we're working on now, is how to distribute it to our fans. We want to introduce it to players as quickly as possible. And this is also AI related. I can't wait to receive their feedback and evaluation. I do have a few concerns about the new developments, though. A lot of our players in this life simulation genre are detail-oriented and often want to focus on building their InZOI world in completion. As you know, I'm all about taking on new challenges, so I'm cautious about how we roll out these new developments as to not disrupt the builds of our players who've already created worlds. I'm nervous to see if our players will be accepting of the changes or not. I hope it is received well.
Wow, thank you so much. There was such an illuminating and interesting and fun conversation. So thank you so much. 감사합니다.
Thank you. This was a fun and interesting conversation.
Now let's venture into a conversation with the newcomer in the industry, the United Arab Emirates and Dubai. Dubai is leading an expansion of its video game industry through 2033. It had its first year of representation at Gamescom earlier this year, and looking forward to sharing their culture through the video game experience. I got to play one of their latest third-person shooter mobile games called Stray Shot. It's actually one of the mobile games that got me into playing mobile games, and I was shocked at how amazingly and smooth it played. Here's my conversation with Faisal Kazim, the Director of Foresight at the Dubai Future Foundation.
Let's get into it. First question, I kind of want to get to know you and understand why you're in the game world, right? Are you a gamer?
I am a gamer. I'm a casual gamer, which always helps. It's something that I feel like you almost need to have to understand, not only to understand the economic impact of the games industry. Yes, it's a big industry. Yes, it's a $200 billion industry, but the impact that it can have on people, on families, on societies. You're asking me if I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer, but I'm also a gamer, a father gamer.
A father gamer, what does that mean?
So my kids are also gamers.
Ah.
And we connect over games. And my wife is from South America, and my kids connect to their uncle through games. Oh. So the impact is, I've always seen it as an extremely positive impact. And of course, yes, there are some guardrails that need to be put in place. But the overall impact, I always see it as a very, very positive impact.
What kind of games do you and your kids play, and even with the uncle, or does your wife play even?
Yeah, we bond over games all the time.
Yeah.
So games like, like Fortnite, for example, games which are suitable for families, sometimes games that are created by other people, sometimes, these UGCs or user-generated content type games are the ones that people love the most. Mm-hmm. And we enjoy it all together. Like I said, myself, my wife, I have 3 kids, but yeah, they're 8 and 6 and 2, so the 2-year-old is starting to get into Minecraft.
Did you see the Minecraft movie?
I missed it. I wish I could have made it.
Better
but
than I thought it was going to be, to be honest.
I love Jetpack.
Exactly. Me too. That made the whole movie. Anyways, how did you get into the games world?
It was when we were looking at industries of the future. So I work for an organization called the Dubai Future Foundation. The Dubai Future Foundation is an organization that has a broad mandate to try and make Dubai a leading city of the future. So it's extremely future oriented. We're constantly looking at industries of the future, conducting research. We do a lot of scenarios work as well, a lot of publications. When it came to the games industry, it was an industry that's both relevant not only in the present, but also in the future. One of the bets that we're making is that the future is going to be digital. And the inspiration was that the skill sets that are required for game development and game design are so versatile that they are applicable for various futures depending on how things pan out over the next 5-10 years. And so we want to make sure that no one's left behind, and so that people are prepared for the future digital world.
Yeah, this is your first year at Gamescom and kind of representing Dubai, is that correct?
That is correct. So the reason we're here is because we actually have a games industry, a thriving one. However, when we reached out to people globally, they were not aware of the great things that are happening in Dubai when it comes to the games industry. Dubai currently is home to more than 350 gaming companies. And the majority of those companies are game developers. There are great games that are being developed and published in Dubai. So that's the main reason we're here. We want to show those games to the rest of the world. We get asked a lot of questions like, what living in Dubai is like. Why should we consider, working from Dubai? And we're very open to even answering questions about what challenges people might face in Dubai and what to look out for. But we want to be as honest as possible. And there are great things and there are great reasons why Dubai could be a great place to work from for gaming professionals.
I couldn't quite wrap my head around what that looks like. Can you describe what the game scene looks like in Dubai?
Yeah, so it's very diverse in terms of, I think I should begin with Dubai as a whole, right? So Dubai is extremely culturally diverse. The local citizens in Dubai represent between 10 to 15% of the overall population. There are over 200 nationalities in Dubai, so extremely culturally diverse.
Yeah.
Dubai is one of the safest cities in the world as well. People like to work from Dubai because of financial freedom, economic stability, political stability, and the lifestyle. So those are the things that kind of attracted people to come to Dubai, and it's very unique in the sense that there are various what we call free zones in Dubai, where there are different kinds of benefits. So, for example, we have a free zone in Dubai called the Dubai Multi-Commodities Center. They have a gaming center where they provide co-working spaces.
Interesting.
Yeah, co-working spaces. They're home to about, I think, 140 gaming companies in that free zone alone. There's another free zone called the Dubai International Financial Center, which began as a free zone that focuses on financial services companies, but now they've broadened their scope because it was very attractive because they have their own legal system and their own courts as well, and the legal system is actually based on English common law. So that is something that a lot of global companies find attractive. So it's something they're familiar with. So there's something for everyone in Dubai, regardless of what you're looking to do. Whether you're an established larger company, Dubai is home to, for example, the regional headquarters of companies like Riot Games, the regional headquarters of Sony PlayStation. So we have those larger names in Dubai, as well as a lot of up-and-coming cool games. If somebody is watching Gamescom, some of the videos that were at Gamescom, there are 3 awesome games that we're showcasing from Dubai.
Yeah, please.
One of them is, again, we're a minority in our own country. 10 to 15% of us are UAE nationals. One of the games is developed entirely by a UAE national, and it's a really cool platformer. It's called NC Solution. We are also.
What kind of game is that? Can you explain?
Sure. Yeah. So it's a platformer. It's really cool. It's tough. It's a tough game. So it's. But I mean that's part of the fun, right? Part of the challenge. Graphics are great. Art style is amazing. And yeah, it's a platformer. Very cool. And we are also showcasing a battle royale game called Stray Shot. That is, the beta was live just a couple months ago. They're looking to launch later this year. And we are showcasing a very cool JRPG style game called Lost Helden by a company called Artisan Studios. So the studios themselves are not in the UAE, but the founders are based in UAE. They have an office in Dubai as well. The game is, I guess, for Lost Helden, I'm a big JRPG fan. So yeah, things that stand out to me are like the art style, the hand-drawn illustrations, the soundtrack. Yeah.
It sounds like you're so passionate about all these games that,
Bit of a fanboy.
especially like, yeah. I mean, obviously it's from your country and your people, but like it seems like you're very passionate about the art and the artistry that goes into all these games as well. Do you want to talk about what brings you so much joy with these games?
We have our long-term targets in terms of contribution to GDP, creation of jobs, but one thing that's sometimes maybe overlooked is the cultural impact that games could have, and so we're hoping for our region to be represented in games in an authentic way. So there have been a couple of really cool success stories in the last year or two. So we had. I'm a big fan, for example, Black Myth Wukong last year, which was showcasing Chinese culture, and that was refreshing because in the past we hadn't really seen that much of Chinese culture in games, and so I'm not the only one. I mean, it won awards. It was a great game, and earlier a few months ago, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, again a French game. Showcasing French culture, So the inspiration is that we have a lot of untold stories from our part of the world. If we can somehow leverage gaming as a medium for cultural exchange, that's the kind of like the real desire and passion that not just I myself have, but a lot of people in Dubai have.
I'm actually so glad you brought that up, because my next question for you was the fact that games, storytelling in games is such a huge part of just gaming,
Yeah.
the community. That's what kind of brings people together. Maybe even to buy the games, they usually, the gamers I've talked to, they want to buy a game if they connect with the story. They watch the trailer first and then they connect with the story. And you're right, it's games can be a cultural addition, or like it's almost like a movie in some ways, where culture is a big part of like bringing cultural awareness through
Yeah.
games, right? And I wanted to ask you what kinds of UAE stories you think would be we'd be seeing through these games. Maybe the three that you just talked about. What are those stories, or are there stories that caught your attention in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for people to just be inspired by everything that's happening in Dubai. Again, Dubai is like this melting pot of so many different cultures, right? And so the hope is that, we would be able to have games where our culture is shared maybe through subtle ways, like people just living in Dubai, experiencing the culture, and then being inspired by the things that they see and feel around them would naturally then reflect in the games that they're creating. So it doesn't need to be a very intentional in terms of the character being, for example, an Arab character, or the setting being an Arab setting or anything like that. It's more about like the people being there, experiencing everything around them, and then reflecting what they experience in the game.
Can you tell me specifically maybe one of the games that you had here at Gamescom, what the storyline is?
All three of them are we intentionally chose three completely unique games.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, all three of them are not released yet. But yeah.
All under wraps. Anticipation. So video games are super popular in very certain countries, and then there are others who are kind of in their infancy. Why does Dubai want to get into the games industry?
That's a great question. So there had always been somewhat of a games industry in Dubai already. One of the things that we did was, as soon as His Highness Crown Prince of Dubai launched the Dubai program for gaming in November of 2023, the first thing that we did was we combined all the efforts of everything that's happening in Dubai. So all the various government entities that are working in the game industry in terms of events, licensing, maybe real estate, co-working spaces, that kind of thing, all under one arm, so that it becomes extremely clear to people from outside of Dubai, where to go to for whatever they're looking for. So I think that is one of the reasons the Dubai program for gaming was launched by His Highness the Crown Prince, and the others are things that I kind of touched on. So the fact that the future is digital. We see game engines like Unity, Unreal Engine now being used not just for creating and designing games, but they're everywhere. Like they're in your car user interface, for example. They're in movies. They're in like the classic examples like The Mandalorian. I'm a big fan. Entirely like the digital environments are made using Unreal Engine, for example.
Yeah.
Apple Vision Pro, the VR or AR environments there are designed using Unity. So these skill sets that are meant for gaming are now being utilized way beyond gaming. That's from like maybe a skill set perspective. But then if you look at, for example, GPU manufacturers, I mean, the big boom in AI has been very much thanks to, graphics processing units, GPUs.
Mm-hmm.
So whichever way you look at it, gaming is big on its own, has a huge positive impact on societies, on the economy. However, it's like gaming is beyond gaming as well.
What's the future of gaming in the Middle East and Northern Africa? Kind of what does that future look like in your eyes?
So I think there is a huge opportunity for us, for the entire region, to work in a collaborative way, right? So you have Saudi Arabia. They have an amazing success story already when it comes to esports World Cup, right? So they're investing heavily into esports. They are investing literally into like the games industry as well in terms of M&A. So those are great things happening in Saudi Arabia. You have a neighboring Emirates, so the United Arab Emirates consists of 7 Emirates. Dubai is one Emirate. The capital is the capital of the UAE is Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is doing great things as well when it comes to gaming. They provide great incentives for some gaming companies to set up. They sometimes subsidize salaries as well. So there's almost like something for everyone. So one of the things that we made sure that we're doing in Dubai is to make sure that Dubai's games industry is complementary to everything that's happening around us. So we don't want to compete with our neighbors that are doing great things. We definitely don't want to cannibalize each other, and we want to lift the region as a whole.
Why should Americans care about all of it?
It's because, again, those untold stories. It's these fresh news stories that could be that people are, I think, craving in the rest of the world. It could be a way for people to experience something different as well. A lot of the games, I think, in the past, being a casual gamer, past 10 or 15 years have been, a lot of the games have started to look similar over time. So the hope is that we're going to be able to create unique games that people in America haven't experienced before.
We're here at Gamescom. Is there anything that kind of caught your attention here? Anything you're like, I'm so excited about this?
Yeah. Fanboy later. Fanboy first?
No, you can do later. Whatever you need to do. Whatever you need to do.
Okay, so the sheer scale of things was eye-opening for me, obviously.
Yeah, me too.
So it was. I was aware that Gamescom is the largest gaming conference in the world, but the sheer scale of things and the number of relevant people that are right here in Cologne, everyone's coming from all around the world to talk to. That was eye-opening for me. We definitely plan on doing this more in the future. On the fanboy side, I'm looking forward to the big farming simulator space. I'm a huge farming simulator fan. I'm not embarrassed about that at all. I spend hours and hours on farming simulator.
There's like stigmas around it, right?
I know. I'm looking forward to like doing cosplay and everything.
Oh, wait! The next time you're in cosplay, no. Video's okay, right?
No. I'll put on a mask or something.
Okay. Farming, okay. Maybe I haven't played one of those, so maybe I need to get playing in those.
It's not for everyone.
Okay. In terms of the state of gaming, I know things are changing and things like that, and you've been asked a lot about the state of gaming and your country's role in it. And but how are you approaching the industry where like international publishers, are seeing like business models kind of flip on their heads a little bit because the demand for gamers, like kind of like what you're saying, they want a more genuine experience instead of a cash grab. There's huge game companies who, buy up these amazing games, and then they oftentimes kind of drop some of the developers, or like they don't. There's a lot of feedback happening.
Yeah.
What How would you approach this industry? Would you approach it any differently?
Yeah. So again, we acknowledge that we're newcomers, in the industry, but yeah, no doubt we've been hearing about the layoffs crisis globally. It's something that we would do everything we can to try and resolve. But again, we're newcomers, and there's only so much we could do. That said, we are planning on a roundtable. The announcement will be made soon. And the intention is to have key global executives, individuals, and representatives of organizations globally to come together in a closed doors roundtable in order to come out with a complete reset of the way to approach employment and the layoffs crisis, and the idea is for us to have something tangible rather than just a promise or a pledge. Please play Lost Helden. Please play NC Solution, and please play Stray Shot.
Okay. All right. There you have it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Presented by Xsolla, all the things powering the business of games. To learn more, go to xsolla.pro/gamer-galaxy.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.